Hello,
Oh,
ladies
calm
and
down. Just antebellum.
hello. Literally, I hit hello, ladies and gentlemen, and you interrupt me. I am the pissed off Trask now.
I am the mm. I am the
Oh God, gonna take
I'm
all
just gonna
night.
go black noir Taylor Field. It's a
Terrible
classic.
name. This guy again. I didn't hit you hard enough last week, and you're already getting on my nerves. You gotta be careful because what I did to you last week, I'll do it again if you want another match.
Mm.
Because you're just like one, he interests me in the intro. Two, this guy's just a full-on liar. Because like, and I
I don't
knew
know.
this.
I
No,
said I believe. I
it
didn't
doesn't
say
matter.
it's definitely.
Fine, you're not a liar. I'll give you that. But I just your sourcing is always wrong. You never read anything. And tonight was officially the last night I give you any credence for any info you give me. I'm gonna say I want a link or a screenshot because I'm interested in this movie Antebellum, which has been getting reviewed terribly, but still I've wanted to see it because the producers and whatnot. Maybe I'll review it. So at some point I'm gonna rent or whatnot. And then Taylor's like, "Oh my goodness, Antebellum! It's on Amazon Prime." I'm like, "Oh really?" And I go to watch or rent. And I go, "Oh yeah." He goes to watch, I believe. But even then, still he's leading me on. I go to Amazon. The first thing on the page is rent Antebellum, and it's just like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" Like, it's just he gets
Well,
me
I didn't
excited
go
for
to that
nothing.
page.
Thinks I'm
I didn't go
saving
that
20
far.
bucks,
You went
but
further than I did.
yeah, well, exactly, because you don't read the headlines. So I'm officially never believing you on
Oh,
anything
I
until.
have I have no interest in watching it. The trailer just left me more confused than Tenant did.
But still, you put it in the chat, and I was like, okay, this is cool. Save some
Well,
money watching
Jessica
it.
did back me up because she's like, "Oh, I thought I watched it recently somewhere." So
No, she
Jessica
said
was
she thought
not.
she saw it recently, but Jessica has no idea. She literally just
Thought
asked me
she
today.
saw it recently. I
She
thought she
literally
meant
just
it
asked
implying she
today
watched it.
with no follow up. She's just like, I said, I got my Halloween costume, which I bought my Homelander Halloween costume, and just says, "You watching The Boys?" What does that mean? Currently? Does that mean in general? I'm the first fucking person that watched The Boys and told everybody to watch The Boys, so I would think that I would. So if it's that, then she just forgot. And currently, no, I already watched it. I watched it right when it drops. You know, whatever. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, you can check out a bevy of things that are on the podcast feed. You check out After Nine Returned. It was a wild After Nine. There's some patrons that messaged me that said they can't wait to be on the next one. So if you don't know what that is, that's the episode previous feed. You get the first hour for free. Excuse me. I didn't get all my coughs out, Taylor, before the podcast, as you're talking about.
Mm.
You get the first hour for free, and then the whole show is on Patreon. That show we're going to be doing once or twice a month. It's After Nine, so it's just wild. Kind of like The Boys. It's kind of all over and crazy.
That's why I cut out randomly after an hour. I was at work and I was listening. I'm like, wow, why did this just end abruptly? I
Well,
thought it
it
was like a glitch or something.
Well, oh my God, Taylor. Literally at the beginning of the podcast, when I intro it, I say some of this will be on the main feed. The whole
Oh
show,
no, I skipped over half of that. There was like 10 minutes of ads. I was like, I can
there's
get
not
through
10
these
minutes of
ads here.
ads. Thanks for skipping over it, not supporting the podcast feed. Because that's why we have ads, ladies and gentlemen, is because, things like what we're doing right now, Zoom, that costs money, to do these 4 or 5 minutes. But no, Taylor, not supporting us at all. And even in the description, which you don't read clearly of the episode, it said the whole thing's on Patreon. Patreon, you can get ad-free episodes, exclusive episodes, early episodes, the whole shebang. And like we said before, now the $5 tier, whenever we do After Nine, you'll be able to call in. We kind of do 15, 20 minutes of just the intro, and then we call, and we had 3 people call in last week, and it was just tons of fun. Right? We had a good time, didn't we?
Oh yeah, that was a good time.
Well, he says it like it's nothing, but it's probably just because like we've been lucky over these 5 years to accumulate some good fans, but it's just been like you never know. It was the first time ever we've done this Patreon call, and like, oh, I hope it goes well, and we had good natural conversation. I think soon we'll probably look for a link. We've started a Discord for Geek First, but I think we'll ramp that back up so we can maybe keep updates with everybody. So look for that. I might tweet that out this weekend, and we'll get back on that because get more of the when the After Nines or whatnot, some topics involved and everything, start
Mhm.
connecting with the fans a bit more because this week was a lot of fun. PlayStation 5 reveal, me and Dylan did a cast on that. We reviewed Revengers this week. Taylor, at some point you're reviewing this Jurassic Park thing, I guess.
Yeah, it's gonna be a busy weekend for me. I got Jurassic Park Camp Cretaceous. I'm gonna get through. Probably start it today and maybe finish it, get a review tomorrow, and then at some point maybe an All Stars review with Dylan. If not, I'll try. If I was doing it solo, I would have it up by Sunday. But he wants to do Spelunky 2, so I don't know when he will be available to do it. I think at the latest maybe next week, but I feel like that's pretty late.
Well, Spelunky's the biggest It's the bigger title, to be honest.
Really?
It's not gonna sell more, but like those are 3 remastered games. Even though you said you're gonna, I'm not gonna get in that debate. That's a whole different debate. What we're here to talk about is the boys. So, 2 weeks ago we did boys 1 to 3. The reason we didn't do the boys last week is because we were on Super Silver Surge's podcast. You can check that out because we have a podcast network. We got some of our thoughts in there. It was honestly quite a wild show. So we'll give a little bit of our thoughts of episode 4 with episode 5. With episode 4, I really enjoyed it. I think that was like, to say it's my least favorite of the 5 so far doesn't like sounds a lot worse because like it still was really good, but I feel like that was a bit more of a setup, slower one. I liked everything they did with Huey and Starlight. I think that was a good like preview of what they could be if they're happy, like they didn't have all this crazy stuff going on. And then obviously we
Yeah.
got 2 big reveals or 2 big moments as far as what is her name? Stormfront is Liberty, so this person they've been looking after. So we're gonna get more on that.
Well, they didn't confirm that, right? They
Well, okay,
just
she has
hinted
some
at it.
tie to Liberty, but I'm pretty sure she's Liberty and she's just not aging. And then the other thing is Huey pretty much just tried to get his wife to leave her child and just bounce off. So, yeah, those were the main things. But, yeah, I really liked episode 4. Like I said, I think it's my least favorite of the series so far. Before we get to 5, Taylor, what do you think about 4 quickly, just for the people? And then from now on, we'll be back to doing like every week. We just jumped off last week because we were already talking about it and we wanted to do some cross promotion with our boys over there. So. Boys and Growls.
Me personally, I thought that like my mom was like
Homelander
on the
stuff.
couch. Yeah, a lot of Homelander stuff. Madison went to bed, and my mom was on the couch next to me when I put on like the boys episode 4, and she started to kind of like doze off and stuff, which I'm glad. And then she got up and left because when she got up and left, that's afterwards. That's when the weird stuff happened, and it was like when Doppelganger turned into like Homelander and started talking all dirty and stuff. I had the remote in my hand ready to turn the TV off because it was just so like I was okay with it, but I know like my parents wouldn't be awkward, but it's just so weird. And I just the things he was saying to Homelander as Homelander is so weird just to see that and then or to hear that. Oh my god, it was weird just thinking about it. These episodes are so weird. But overall, like I thought it was a pretty interesting episode. I like that it was with the deep kind of narrating, like the start and the end of it kind of a little bit. And what else? Yeah, I like the road trip that they went on. I liked Black Noir just sitting in the behind that like computer tech lady and then just like watching her and like sits down and gets like a drink or whatever. Like he's such a hoot of a character. Like I really, really like him.
You must have liked this
And
episode because this episode 5, that's the most we've ever got of him,
I
really.
really like this episode with him. Yeah, I can't wait to get into that.
I'm trying to think of. I just had a thought of something else, but yeah. So that was episode 4, and yeah, we'll get in episode 5. If you've not seen it, we're just gonna jump right to spoilers because we already talked about 4, and maybe we'll do that next week. But honestly, I feel like we're tuning into this. You're not listening to non-spoiler episodes. It's just one episode. Like it's out on a Thursday night, Friday morning. I'm sure you've watched by now. So we're into spoilers now, and we'll probably talk a little bit about episode 4 a little bit if like comparing to things. I can't remember what the fuck I was gonna say. There's something about episode 4, and I think that was my only one like comedic beat as far as Huey and Starlight. It's just so fun. Like I get why they do it, but like when they're like making love and he goes to turn the light off and she's like, wait, I got it. And she turns the light off with her eyes, but it's like, he still could have done it faster than you could have. Like you had to get him to stop. And like, so that was just a funny little note, but yeah. So episode 5 here, a lot happened. I think near the back half, this was like a lot of kind of, I feel setup because like you got tons of setup of, and Taylor to break the fourth wall. You're recording on your end, right?
Should I be?
You're such a
I am.
bastard. You're such a, like I beat this guy within an inch of his life, and he still thinks he can just like mouth off, whatever.
Oh yeah.
Fucking Dylan stopping that match. So we kind of got some big revelations as far as Liberty might be Stormfront. That's kind of not touched upon too much in this, other than Starlight's like looking into it. But we have Queen Maeve, who's now actively going against Homelander. Like she's trying to figure out some sort of plan to take him out. We have Homelander, and I've been calling this. I call this since the first review, since the first episode. I told you, Stormfront and Homelander were gonna fuck. I knew it. It was gonna happen. It was just inevitable. I think it's just two high-powered beings, like a Kylo and Rey situation. It's just like it's bound to happen. But she's clearly manipulating him and has
Oh yeah.
him completely under her thumb. That's why when everybody this season was like, "Man, Homefront's really or Homeland, that's their ship name, Homefront.
Yeah.
Homelander is really gonna fuck her up. Oh man, he's gonna kill her." I was like, that may happen eventually, but that's not happening right now. Even when we were on Super Civil last week, people were like, some of
Like
the guys.
Nathan, he's gonna like kick her ass and all that
Yeah,
stuff.
and it was like, and Tony, our boy Tony, he was all they're like, oh yeah, like and once he figures it out, like he was threatening her, like with his eyes. It's like no, like she's completely in control. Like as we just saw from last week, and I said this in that review for episode 4, when he threatened her with her eyes, she was completely acting as scared because when he did the laser eyes to her boobs in this episode, nothing happened. Like clearly it hurt her a bit, but it didn't kill her or cut her in half like other people, right? So clearly she can either be intolerant or at least like has some durability against it.
It's
So
like a little bit of durability because like it was definitely seeping through. So I feel like and I don't even think he was going full blast. I think if he went full blast, it might do some damage, but I
maybe,
don't
but
see that.
we'll have to see next episode because if she's all healed up, though, that might I think she could have the Logan thing going on where it's like if she is Liberty, maybe she's aging at an accelerator heals. I was waiting. The shots where you can't hear me anymore.
I can hear you now, but your mic cut out for a solid
What
4 seconds.
a solid 4 seconds.
4 seconds.
That happened on After 9 too. I got to figure it out. I'm not sure if I got a loose score or something, but I was waiting to see if she was healed or not after, but during the sex, it was all there up against each other, so I couldn't see anything. And then the other, I guess, like, no, it's a big plot point. I just feel like we knew it was going to happen was like Butcher's decided to get back on the trail to get his wife, and it feels like he's going to get his wife and bring the kid along. Like he realizes he can't have what he wants, just his wife. So I think he's going to get his kid, and then he's going to find a way to mess up Voight or Homeland or whatnot. So I laid down like a lot of the big things. What was something, and we'll get into the deep after because of course he's with the original. What's the thing you want to talk about the most?
You call it Voight, and everyone on Super Civil Servants calls it Voight, but in the show they call it Vought. So what's the
Yeah,
deal
no,
with
I
that?
think you're right. The reason I call it Voight is because John
Ooh,
Voight
that did something. That was like that was oof. I
was
can
it.
hear you now, but that was like alien tech like ringing.
I replugged my mic in and out. I should have muted it, but
Oh,
I call it Voight because there's the actor John Voight, and it's spelled the same way. So for years, I'm just trained that way. But you are right. I'm pretty sure that is Vought. So I got to start saying Vought more. You're going to look it up right now.
John Voight.
Oh.
It's spelled differently.
Is it?
Voight has an I. Vought is VOU. Voight is VOI.
I never thought I saw an I in there. They must have just added that today. So look at that. But yeah, I guess so. You're right. So yeah, what is and obviously yeah, we had some big stuff with Black Noir. So maybe you want to start there because Black Noir is your guy.
Yeah, I'll start there with Black Noir. I love that setup when MM and Huey pop off to go see Butcher, and they arrive at this the old lady's house. Can't remember her name, but they arrive there, and then I love it when Butcher like kind of like he gets that second uh, that hunch, and he kind of like puts the mirror out. I love just seeing Black Noir just creeping on the roof of the house, and I love like I would just to be in that moment and knowing what Black Noir is capable of. I would actually be completely terrified, but I really like the setup. I like how they're like, we're gonna put on a show, get people here to like check the houses and stuff, and then I love that they just put all the explosions in the house. But then that was something that just made me feel like I was watching like Signs or some creepy like alien movie because like they're down below and then you just hear boom and then you hear
Mm-hmm.
another one go boom and then it
And
was
then
so
Terry
intense. But
starts to
again,
bark.
yeah,
There, stop it.
I just I like Black Noir in those moments, just when he finally revealed himself and he went after Butcher, and then when his phone rings, and what was the song? that that played again? Oh,
Oh, I can't remember it either. Yeah,
it was, I thought it was like Hallelujah or something
it
like
was
that. Like,
Hallelujah. Yeah.
yeah, and it's just it's so Black Noir. Um,
I feel like this answers your question though, because last, like our very first review of this for season two, you were like trying to spin to me that Black Noir might be like one of the good guys with us and whatnot. He's clearly not. Like he's working right with Giancarlo Esposito, and I don't. I think whenever that civil war happens, I don't think he's going to be on our side, meaning the boys' side and the
oh, I
good
think
guys'
he
side.
will. I'm saying right now he'll be on the good side.
Because so far they've described him as he's like Homelander's bestie, which we've never seen on the screen, but it's just like a kind of a joke. But then now he's like he was ready to go kill Butcher. There might be some sort of turn, but as of right now, it looks like he is on the bad side. He's on with Vought.
Right now, yeah, I think he'll turn though. He'll turn over a new leaf.
Wow. What else did you want to talk about? Whoa, I'm falling back.
We got more of like the church of the whatevers in this episode. Like we got to see the deep. They're not giving the deep like a big spotlight in these episodes now. They're giving
Good.
him his progression, but in the back burner, right? So he's married now, and he's full on like part of the church, and I can't remember why Queen Maeve was seeing him. If you
Well, we
wanted,
don't know. She just said, "Did you want to get back into seven?" And maybe I'm making this up. I thought she said like he's not going to let you back in. I think she said something like inferring Homelander, but she never said his name. So I think that's what I was going to ask you. So yeah, the deep, that's been like obviously my most controversial thing, where it is like the humor in this episode was good as far as like I liked them showing the fake wedding and all this stuff. But again, I still like wonder like for me, it's tough with the deep because I don't know their endpoint yet. I would prefer if A Train ends up being on the good side and Deep ends up being on the bad side, because then to me it's like, oh well, that's why they're doing a bad job with this like redemption arc, because he's still going to be pathetic bad guy. My worry is he's going to be a good guy, and I just feel like they're still at times sometimes like they downplay the sexual like assault and it's like a joke, and I feel like it's used for too much comedy where it's just like it's fine if you want to go that route, but I just feel that they are doing the show a disservice. I feel like it brings it down, but I like that it is smaller. Like last episode and this episode, it's just little chunks, you know, where the first three, it felt like he was in there a lot. Maybe it was just because we watched them together, but yeah, he's part of the church. So that's what I was going to ask you, like, where is he going to end up? Because I feel like he could be that guy that maybe helps them with Homelander, but I also feel like he could be the guy that like rats everyone to Homelander and gets them in trouble. Like that's I kind of am hoping we go that route and he stays bad and just stays an asshole. Then I can kind of swallow it a bit better as far as, oh yeah, that's why he's still an asshole, because he's still gonna be a bad guy. But I don't know, and I don't know, what do you think Queen Maeve has, like obviously she wants to take Homelander out, but like what do you think that plan consists of?
I think it really depends. Like in terms of like the deep, I don't think he's gonna be like cold turkey, be like, oh Homelander, they're plotting against you. I think
That's not what cold turkey means.
I butchered that usage of it. I feel like
Uh-oh. Raw dog all over again.
raw dog, and I feel like he's probably going to really just fall into cahoots with this church. I don't know what this church is going to be all about, but I feel like that's his new angle. I feel like he's getting brainwashed by this group, and it seems like even we get a little bit of a hint at the fact that Stormfront was in it, but she was like, I'm out, because at first it was all about this, but now it's something very different.
Well, she's just fucking racist. That's what it is. And that's because that's the one thing we did learn last week with Super Civil Servants when we were on there with Chris, because Chris is a comic book reader. I do like now that it seems that the racism is going to be tied to some of her actual motivations and not just, I was worried it was going to be used for shock value. That when she killed that Chinese guy and said like, whatever, I think she called him like a yellow bastard or something. I was like, man, like I know the show goes to like dark and wild places, but I was like, there's time where you can use like, to me in Race and Black Panther, it was used really well to be like, oh, this is important and not shock value, and that's what I was worried they were going to go Storm from, that she would just be like saying racist stuff, but then she's like wants to do some other plot. So it seems like between last week and this week, even her conversation with A Train, like you were referring to, is like, yeah, and they started letting like certain type of people into the church. It clearly feels like she's gonna almost like have ideals of like a Hitler, as far as like these should be the certain people in power or whatnot, which like I'm not fine with as like a real life thing, but I'm happy with the character as well, because I was worried again she was going to be just a female version of Homelander, if just she was powerful and evil and that's it. So I like the idea of she is like potentially racist. She's racist. She said like too many remarks, but like I like that that's going to lead us somewhere, and it's not just kind of a gimmick. But I'll push back on the deep. I don't think they have. I don't know if they've brainwashed him. I just think he's so lonely. That's why he's in this group. Like, because they've brainwashed him, but he still like wanted that hot girl last week that was all about sex and everything. Like, he's still constantly like saying like, this is wrong. I don't really want to be doing this, but they're always like, this is going to help you. This is going to help you. So I think it's a combination of he just wants to get back into the seven, but also he just has no one else. So that's why he's with this church, because they'll accept him because he's a superhero. And I like the commentary on that like, that's where I'm interested in the deep, as far as like he's the sexual abuser and like the church brings him in, whatever you want to say about religion and whatnot. It's something that's happened many times in the past. They have a really checkered past. So I like them hitting on that stuff. So I feel like it's more just because he's alone, and he would take like almost any church right now.
Mm-hmm.
And what do you think Queen Maeve has, like, what does she plan out? Because we've seen in this episode, so she, last week, Homelander, just, again, a character that I love, but man, he's just like the scum of the earth when he outed her out on that TV show in front of everybody, said that she was gay, and then now he like knows about her love and everything like that. So he pretty much like, he says he's happy for it, but he's more doing it in a way of like, he's threatening her. Like, if you ever step out of line, I'm going to kill her. So they bring, I think, is her girlfriend's name Elena? I think it is, right?
Yeah.
So they bring her to wherever like Vought is shooting this movie, which we'll get into. The Joss rewrites really sing. She comes to set, and they like are showing her this whole portfolio of what they want them to do. She's gonna dress a certain way and blah blah blah. And then she walks out and she's like, "I'm not doing that." And then she says, "Well, we just got to play ball until we can get rid of them." So as of right now, if I recall, I don't think we've been introduced a weakness to Homelander per se. So what do you think Queen Maeve's is like, unless she knows, maybe she knows a weakness, because they did insinuate that they used to date at one point as maybe like a cover up. So like, does she know something as far as them being like a weakness for him, or what is her plan to take Homelander out? Because it's like, if she doesn't know his weakness, it has to be something with the public, I guess, or to frame him. Like, are they going to stage a walkout or something? I don't know.
Didn't they cover what he was weak to in the first season? Didn't they hint at something?
I thought they did hint at some, but I don't think I have the full on, and I've never searched it up because I don't want to end up getting like comic book spoilers. Like, that's always the problem with these, like this and Walking Dead and Game of Thrones, when it's like you want to find out something, but it's like, well, am I going to get spoiled on something else? So like I that happened with me with a series of unfortunate events. I got spoiled in the entire ending, which is fine because that show ended up starting to suck. But I think that they introduced like I think there is a weakness, but my question is, does Maeve? I don't know if she knows about it.
Yeah, I think that they obviously don't know what the weakness is, because they would obviously have exploited it by now. But I do think that it makes sense to play ball. It makes sense for Elena to go along with this, because as long as she's kept in the public eye, it keeps her safe. As much as Homelander is having these horrible thoughts and imagining and fantasizing about killing all these people, which
I thought that was real for a second.
Really? Oh,
yeah.
I didn't. At first I thought it was, but then it got to a point where no, they wouldn't do this so early on in the season.
That's the only reason I pulled back. But the only reason I thought it was possible is because the show is The Boys and they just go wild. I was just like, oh, we're just jumping here right now. Okay, like just because they stuck on it for so long, but then when they cut out, he's just like, "You're the people of this earth," and he flies away. Whatever he said, his little fucking remark. But
that scene was really good. Like, as soon as he landed, I loved how everyone just dropped and they were quiet and they were very tense. And again, his dialogue, it's just such like, it's bullshit and it's just hilarious. You guys are all good people. You're all the good people. And he's walking through the crowd. And he's like, what did he say? Like, I did something, it's casualties of war. And
yeah.
He's just trying to think he can fix the problem and come to the solution. But that video of him actually landing, and he puts like his arms on his side, like, whoa, and he like lasers him and then flies away. He's such a prick.
Oh, I know. And then when like they show him the footage, he's like, I don't. This is paraphrasing. He's like, I don't understand. This is a country that's starving, but they have fucking cell phones,
Yeah,
and
like, oh my god.
like, and but that's the best thing about Homelander. Why I love this character. Like, I say he's one of the best characters, and that's why I feel some people maybe misunderstand me and people we talk to, and that's fine. But I feel like there's so many people that just think he's this evil badass, and like he. I'm not trying to. I think there's times where he shows like he has like a small bit of compassion, but I mean the sense of like this guy is just such a man child because last in episode 4, the big revelation, like one, he had this doppelganger guy turn into like his like adoptive mother slash lover, and like he was doing that. That was some good stuff. But then like they did this big revelation where he at the end kills doppelganger because he's like, I don't need anyone but myself. One, Stormfront put that idea into his head, but then two, what happens a week later? He's like trying to talk to Storm, like he needs someone again. He's like, can you help me? Like they keep stressing in this episode that his points are down, and he's like 19. He's like, oh, point 19, like no 19. He's like, what the fuck, like what is it? So like, and even when before they have sex, he's like, oh, she's like, what's up? Oh, my points, like I'm up, and he's like, oh, I really have to thank you. And like he broke up the conversation with her and Starlight by just coming just to chat with Stormfront. So again, like last week he says, I don't need anyone myself. But that's clearly wrong because like a week later, he's trying to cozy up to Stormfront. He needs somebody. And that speech to those people showed before he always had Madeline or someone controlling him. Like, I can't remember that agent name, but she's like, no matter what you do, just say
I
no
think the
comment.
agent's name is Jessica, isn't it?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. She was like, whatever you say, just say like no comment. Like that's your stance right now. We're going to write something up for you. And he's just like, well, it should come from my mouth. Like I can speak for myself, but he can't because he doesn't have any, and he didn't even say anything that like he came off as stupid in there, but he didn't say anything like, I'm gonna kill, like the casualty of war thing was the worst part, but he didn't say like I'm gonna kill. He didn't like slip up like all these, because even when someone's like, hey, what about, it's not just about saving America. He's like, you're right, it's about saving the world. Even though behind closed doors, he is like, fuck everyone else. It's just about saving America. He like still put on a good face, but he's so awkward and he's stepping over his words. And even when he flies away and he gets down to like some hall, he like collapses against the wall and he's all like, he's having like a panic attack because he did so bad. So it's like, this character is not a badass character. He's at times like super powerful and scary, but like he's just a big child. Like that's literally what he is, and that's what I love about him. He's so layered and everything. And then yeah, we saw, and I think this was a good. I didn't know for sure if they were gonna bang this episode, but I knew it was coming soon because this episode was all about laying that groundwork. Like she completely helped them out. I think what she's gonna do is just try to get him on the cause that she's on. I think she's gonna try and convince him that, hey, like you're pure and we should just have the world of other pure people and they would love you, you know. Like I think she's going to try and turn him to be a racist, and like that's the thing about like Homelander, he's a terrible person, but I don't know if he's a racist. Like that's what I love about the show, is like, is he going to be down for that? I think he wouldn't be so down for it, but she's gonna she's gonna make him think it's for a different reason, but really she's gonna be using him to kill off like certain races or something like that.
I don't think he is a racist because like
He's everything else but a racist.
He doesn't show any racism towards A Train, and he did like A Train, and he just needed A Train to leave because he was having a heart attack and wasn't able to keep up anymore. And then Black Noir, he was showing support for Black Noir, as you said, they're best buds. He's like, Black Noir, whatever he is, he's, you know.
Well, we don't, yeah, because in episode 4, he was like, they're talking about how diverse the Seven is, and that's when he revealed that Maeve was gay, and then he's like, yeah, and then we have A Train, who's a black, you know, African American, and then he's like, we have Black Noir, who like doesn't associate with any types, you know, like, which that, like, I don't know this for sure, but I still like, is there a chance that's a woman under there? Because we have no idea. We've never been, like, with him saying that, there's no proof that that's a man. I'm wondering if we're getting a Samus treatment.
It's possible, but I doubt it. I honestly feel like they've introduced so many of these woman characters now. I feel like they've hit that peak, and they're gonna. I think he is just still a male character.
I don't know.
I mean,
that being said, it could be Samus. Like when Samus took off that helmet first game, and then it was a chick, and I was like, whoa, like I just want to know. I feel like we're not going to get his story for like another 2 seasons.
Oh, we probably will never get his story, to be honest.
I think we'll get it. I do think, like, again, I'm not trying to dive too deep in it, but I do think in the comic books they do get into it a little bit. So I think we'll get it at some point. But yeah, and then Black Noir, yeah, we talked about earlier, he was dishing out for Gustavo Fring. You know, what's his name in the show again?
Oh, I don't know. Same character as every other show.
That, first of all, that's a lie. And second of all, we better know the name because it's just like that Tenet review. Oh, you guys watch the
Oh
movie, you don't
yeah,
know the name. What
jeez.
type of
You
reviewers are
know what?
you?
If you're
One
gonna
star.
get mad at us because they call the main character protagonist and we call him protagonist, just go bugger off. As for all the other characters, how do you remember a name when you have to deal with that kind of a movie and you have to comprehend backwards, forward time travel? Get over yourself.
And then, so I want to ask you, what do you think Homefront's plan are with Starlight? Because she is like playing a different type of game with her. She got her mother.
Stormfront.
What did I say?
You said Homefront.
Damn it. That's a great ship name though, but or Starlander, they got pretty cool names. But
Starlander.
okay, so Stormfront is kind of messing with Starlight. Like she brought her mom to set and it's like, oh hey, like you should really bear the hatchet. And then when they're having their conversation, one, Stormfront knew she was lying right away about being in her trailer. And then two, she said, oh, like you're gonna really help me out here in the end. Like I'm paraphrasing, but said something like that. Like it's
I
gonna be
look
good,
forward to having you as a part of my team or something like
something like
that.
that. So it's like, what does she mean by that?
She's doing the Palpatine treatment. She's like, "Oh, you're gonna make a fine like apprentice or something like that." She's
Uh,
just calling all the shots.
Is this gonna be like she's gonna turn her, or is she gonna like use her power for like against her will sort of thing? Because the thing is, so far she's really in the Homelander, and then so far she's like cozying up to the Starlight. Those are two like very white blonde people, and that's almost like Nazi Germany. Like it is that whole like blonde hair, blue eyes.
Well,
They want
even
that look.
the name like Liberty and stuff like that. I feel like they're going like
Yeah.
very patriotic, like the real like race kind of thing. So with everything they've been tackling in this show, like they've heavily tackled, LGBT, they've tackled minority, and in this sense, I feel like tackling like race in general is going to be very huge. And it's she's got her own agenda. It's not backed by Vought, and
Not that we
this
know of.
yeah, not that we know of. I'm inclined to say that. I mean, not that we do know, because yeah, we definitely don't know. But it just seems like Esposito and Black Noir have their own agenda, because Esposito is clearly watching what's going on, and we've barely seen a lot of his character and what
Yeah.
his goal is. He is shutting down Homelander, and he obviously was the one who brought in Stormfront, but we need a little bit more context on that.
And so if she is Liberty, how do you think she's alive this long? Are you think it's the Logan theory that she just like ages slowly, or do you have something else? Like
Well,
that's why I wonder if he brought her in, like, and there because he brought her in, and there's also like episode 4 we saw even more so she's doing her like big rallies of like FOD and everything, and they're not doing anything. So it's just like, what is there's I feel like there's something afoot here, and like I think it's gonna make sense. This isn't a negative. I just think like it'll all be revealed. But I wonder, I don't even know if it's Vought. I just wonder if it's like, does she have Vought in a compromising position where she could,
who was the old lady that was in the picture frame with her?
um, oh, right. Wasn't it just her mother, they said?
Was it? Because I honestly feel like, what if that was Liberty?
It could be, and that could be like the one that was carrying on before or something like that.
Hmm.
Like, or what if, like, I guess we don't have any of that, but what if we go with, people are, it's a controversial right, but is there like a chance that she is like a clone of that older woman? And like, that's not even her mother. It's like that, like Liberty is, what's her name now? Stormfront, but it's because it's like a clone, and this is the clone like grown up now. Like maybe it was a child and now it's grown up.
Wouldn't surprise
Because
me,
Liberty had the same
but
voice as Stormfront. That's like the whole big thing in the
hmm.
flashback that made it sound like, oh, this is the same person. But they didn't show the face full on.
Yeah, and that's another thing that I think is just kind of alluding. They didn't show the face. I don't think she had like the Liberty that I sensed from that scene was not the same. I feel like even powers wise, I feel like her powers were very different, because when you look at Liberty, I don't know much about that character, but I feel like her powers and her name would be based on her powers too. So Stormfront, obviously, electric lighting and stuff like that makes sense. In this scenario, though, I mean, I just feel like I do feel like they're different characters. I feel like they want you to think that she's the same, and then finally we're gonna
Yeah.
get 4 episodes down the road, and Starlight's gonna have her back to a corner and like, tell me the truth, and she'll be like, you think I'm Liberty? No, my mother was, and I'm here to continue her dynasty or
I hope
whatever.
it's not that. I hope it's not that.
Yeah. It
Not
has
that.
to be done better. It can't be like executed that poorly.
No, I'm not Liberty. And then the season ends. Yeah, I'm interested. I'm very intrigued. Like I said at the beginning of the review, I'm happy that this race stuff is not just kind of a shock value thing. So I like that. We got to talk about this whole BVS Justice League sort of parody thing going
Yeah,
on
can you
here.
elaborate on this? Because you're saying like Joss rewrites and stuff, but I don't fully understand this.
Well, you don't get the joke. So like they were filming something, and then Queen Maeve came in and said something about like this version being a lot shittier or something opposed to the old one, and he's like, "Oh yeah, those Joss rewrites really sing." So like they were,
Is that what they said? They actually said Joss
yeah, they
rewrites?
said Joss rewrites. So they're
Oh my
insinuating that
god.
Joss Whedon rewrote, and then like. I don't think this is it because they filmed this way before any of the Ray Fisher stuff, but it was just so funny to have Ray Fisher, like have this Ray
Yeah.
Fisher A train. Like it felt like equivalent of like, I don't believe this, but what happens in the real world right now is Ray Fisher is claiming there's been some abuse in the hands of Joss Whedon, Jeff Johns, John Burke, some Warner Brothers producers, and he's saying that Warner Brothers is not investigating. They're saying they are, but they're lying, and they're doing a crappy job. And Warner Brothers, which I don't believe this, but is going around saying that he's just mad because he didn't like his role in Justice League, and they offered him only a small cameo in Flash. So, like, again, I don't think that's the case, but, and this was filmed months ago, but it's strange for like one of those scenarios to be out there where it's like an unhappy Ray Fisher, and then you have A Train who's just like, I'm not happy with this script, like I'm gonna walk out if you don't. So it was like, it was really like, it was literally just like art imitating life. They didn't know this, they knew the Jaws stuff, so the Jaws stuff was just like perfect time, like lucky for them that all this stuff is
Mhm.
being talked about again in Snyder Cut. But yeah, they're just, even last week they made a joke about they're starting Vought Plus, so like they're making jokes at like everybody's expense. And that's why I've always said this is like Deadpool meets Watchmen. They're serious, and they are serious, and they cover serious topics like Watchmen, but they're constantly breaking the fourth wall. And this whole Justice League, like him directing the whatever, the Dawn of the Seven, like that was it was just some
That's
fun.
so good.
And all that humor worked. I love when A Train had to do his final scene, and it wasn't even Homelander. And I knew that
Yeah.
the stunt double was just like, man, that was great. Like, good working with you. Like, A Train's definitely coming to the good side, just because he's just like, they're just treating him like shit. And I'm very interested to see what he does next, because he's another character of like, he's like, so again, like I'm not going to talk about the range of like what's bad or whatnot, but I feel like murder is pretty equivalent to rape, and like he's murdered at least two people we know of. He killed Huey's girlfriend, accidental, but he still killed her, and they played off. But then he also killed his like girlfriend or whoever he was hooking up last season. Remember, by faking in her overdose. So it was like,
Mm.
he's another character like the Deep, where, and that's where I feel like they're doing his better, because his journey has humor like that Homelander thing, but it feels like that's just a funny situational humor. With the Deep, it just feels like he's getting fed, for my opinion, like in a writing sense, like these like kind of comedic lines, and I'm not a big fan of that route. So I feel like if they both, we got to see, but if they both have a redemption arc, I personally think they're doing A Train's better of showing how, hey, you did all this stuff, like keep your guard up, like your profile up to stay on the seven, but really did nothing because they're just outcasting you no matter what you say, no matter what you do. And he's like, oh, we could just try to keep it open, and they're just like, no, you're gonna do the scene. I think they're doing a better job showing how dejected he is, and I think Maeve is just she's gonna, if Deep is gonna go to the good side, she's gonna get him, and then she's gonna get A Train, and then I think at some point her and Starlight are gonna realize that they have the same goal and they just don't know it, and then you might get this. I could see the season ending with like Maeve coming to the, and which would be so fun, like come to that porn shop and like meeting with Butcher, and it's gonna be like her, A Train, and the Deep, and maybe even that's how the show ends. It was like, how do we kill this fucker? Like I could
Mm.
see something happening being the final straw, and then you kind of have, I know you don't think so, but you can have like Black Noir, Homelander, and Stormfront versus the boys, and then a bunch of these other heroes as well. So, and because I think the new, what's the new speedster that's replacing A Train? I can't. Is his name the Hive or something? Or,
Oh god.
but either way, he'll be on Homelander's side, I guarantee you, because he's new and they brought him in. So that's why I think you're going to have like we talked about, a Civil War-esque sort of situation, and Maeve's gonna, I don't know what she's gonna do. I don't know if she's gonna get involved with like Vought, and if they're gonna help her out take Homelander, because Homelander to me is, he's just like, he's a lot of trouble for Vought. Are you trying to pull up his name?
It's Shockwave, I think.
Shockwave. Also, I want to ask you this because I had to rewatch episode 4 last night because Emily hadn't seen it. I think there could be more revealed to it, but last week we got Butcher's wife. Do you remember her name? Becca. It's Becca.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she was talking about again, like how, what happened. Homelander raped her, and she told Vought, and they just said like, "Hey, we're gonna fake your death and get you out of here. We're gonna hide you from Homelander." From what we know of Vought, what I don't buy for a second that they wouldn't have just killed her, because I
She
feel,
was pregnant, right?
yeah, but that's what. Even then, I just feel like I guess maybe they will explain it, and I would feel like the explanation is they just wanted to see if she would produce a soup baby. But if that's not the answer, I feel like, because they made it sound like this was a huge deal that they kept it from Homelander and it was really secretive and it was lots of trouble they had to go through. But it's just like, to me, what we know of Vought so far, look at with the Butcher. Right when there was a problem, they just went to go kill him. They didn't really have a conversation. He saved them by saying, "Hey, this information got released." So I don't know. Do you think there's something like we'll get more of that? Because to me, if not, I feel like that's kind of a plot hole for her just to be like, yeah, and then Vought kept me secret. I think Vought would have just been like, okay, yeah, we'll meet you in this car, we'll ship you off. And then when she got in the car, someone just shot her, and the problem solved. There's no Homelander kid. There's no Homelander like after this Becca. There's no Butcher, in the sense of like he's around right now. They could just get rid of him because he doesn't have the secret about Becca. So I don't know if I buy Vought hiding her, in my opinion.
I wouldn't necessarily say it was even Vought. I'd say it was like Lady Madeline or whatever, her decision, because she obviously knew about what Homelander did and decided just to hide the wife away, Becca. And I
Why
feel
would
like,
she kill her?
again,
She got Homelander to destroy an entire plane the first episode of season 1. Remember when
I
she had,
feel like in this sense, like you have the potential for another Homelander, and if he's obviously brought up properly, then you wouldn't have you have someone brought up with a proper mother and a proper environment. That's why they pay so much money to have the proper environment and aesthetic and atmosphere for this boy, because then you're not going to have a crazy Homelander like knockoff. And Madeline at the time would have been looking at it like, okay, I got Homelander who's a little hard to control, but is sort of manageable. If I keep this other Homelander 2.0 secret and raise him and have him be raised up properly, then he can be an actual like controllable, true good hero in the sense that won't be stirring the pot and doing shitty things that we have to cover up all the time, and maybe could even be a way to actually kill and defeat our current Homelander and replace him or something along those lines. So I think it was just a contingency plan, and I think that's again, Stormfront know that there's a young Homelander. I don't think she does she?
no, but I bet in the throes of passion, Homelander is going to foolishly reveal this secret. I think he will. I think something will happen, or
He didn't reveal it to Lady Maeve, did he?
No, I don't think he fully trusts her though. That's where I felt like he wanted somebody, because I can't remember if it was episode 4 or 3 when he was talking about being happy. Well, because he was just like, I think it was episode 3 when he came up to her. He's like, "You and me have known each other for a long time, right?" And I felt like he was just trying to make a connection to anybody, but he had no idea. I feel like he wanted to tell her, but he was like, "No, like I'm still not close enough with her to like really reveal that secret." So I feel that he'll reveal it to Stormfront, and either it'll be in 2 situations. One, I think Stormfront will use it against him at some point, or there'll be a thing where, let's say, Butcher can get the kid away and Stormfront stops it and like fully gets Homelander's trust for whatever plan she's doing. She'll do something to help save this kid or something, or get the kid away from the mom or kill Beck, whatever it may be. And that either way, that boy is going to be used as a token, I think. And who knows, maybe Homelander doesn't kill Stormfront. Maybe it's the little kid.
I think it'll definitely most likely be the little kid. I mean, I feel like he's definitely justified. He's definitely pissed off, and he doesn't like his dad. I feel like it
Yeah.
goes with the story too. Well, not that all like sons kill their fathers, but like it's something that they kind of, I don't know, they've tackled in other stories before. So.
Well, I wasn't pitching the kid. Well, I think the kid could. I think the Butcher will kill Homelander instead. I was pitching that Homelander's kid will kill Stormfront.
Really?
Well, I just think that would be a fun situation of like, let's say
Yeah.
Stormfront's kind of winning, and then you have this young, I can't remember what his name is either, but then he's like fully coming to his powers. Like it might not happen. I just feel like if Homelander dies, Butcher has to be the one to do it because I just feel like that is the I don't know. I some people can disagree talking about Game of Thrones the final season. I'm not going to say what character because some people haven't watched it, but I just feel like there's a very evil character, an evil female character that for many seasons is like a very evil person. The only person that maybe is not redeemable on that show, and she gets like a pretty tame death, almost like a peaceful one in a sense. And it's just like, I don't want that with Homelander. I want Homelander to just get destroyed when he gets killed. I want the Butcher to beat him within an inch of his life. Even though Homelander is one of the best characters ever, so it's like that's that character trajectory as far as being such a bad person. He needs like a bad death, and he needs it at the hands of Butcher. It's like, yeah, could that be predictable? Sure, but it's just like sometimes predictable is the best story, and I feel like Homelander has completely ruined his life. So I don't know. I feel like it has to be Butcher eventually.
To be honest, in the great, scheme of things with content lately, I feel like shows have gone out of their way to not go the predictable route in the sense where
Yeah,
like,
but I
oh,
think
like
sometimes it
even
hurts it.
it does, because like I feel like everyone's doing that nowadays. So I feel like people we want the predictable thing. In Game of Thrones we wanted the predictable thing. In Star Wars, we wanted the predictable thing. We didn't want
No,
it to be because
no.
they went with this unpredictable thing, which just was totally like we really did not predict what was going on, and some of us still don't know how to predict what happened in that last movie.
I would.
Um,
What was unpredictable about the last movie? Nothing was. They just remade Return of the Jedi and
no, because
Empire Strikes Back. They remade them in one movie.
Empire Strikes Back was remade in Last Jedi,
No,
but
and it was again in Return of Rise of Skywalker.
I
Remember,
didn't get that sense in Rise of Skywalker for
so in
Empire.
that moment, we talked about this on the review, but you've forgotten is when we talked about how clearly the first half of that movie is just what JJ would have been doing for episode 2. That moment, spoilers for Rise of Skywalker if you haven't seen it. That moment when he's like, "You're a Palpatine," and like Rey is literally on a catwalk between Kylo and like space, and then she jumps away. That would have been if JJ directed it.
Oh, so like one scene from
But no,
that
that
from
the
going
whole
to
lead up to
Empire.
that is like, who's my parent, blah, blah, blah. And then like, you're a Palpatine. Big reveal, she jumps off something and she's gone. And then the whole third act of the movie is literally Return of the Jedi. The space battles, we got to how many Death Stars in there is there? Oh, there's like 150 million this time instead of 2 or a bigger one. Great. They fight in a throne room scene, the baddie. Oh, I fucking hate this movie so much. Kylo Ren gets redeemed, but then they kill him for no fucking reason. They just kill him just like Vader. The Emperor blows up. It's the same. They did not do that was one of the things that it was like
But see, that's not what I was predicting would happen going into that movie. They went with just like being unpredictable, and they went with
that's wrong. We all predicted Kylo was going to turn good and die. We all, by the time we saw that movie, we said this has to be what they're going to do. And guess what they did? And it was like, oh, that was
I
the
wouldn't say because I really didn't think he would die. I really was holding hope that he would be turned and would stay alive.
Mm.
Or I mean, even then, like even with the race stuff, they did the unpredictable thing when they should have done the predictable thing with that and have her turn to the dark side, have that be Dark Ray or
No, see
something
that's
like that.
see I don't know because now I'm talking myself off the ledge because like the predictable okay, Star Wars is different because I want these are we had already got the predictable sometimes predictable as far as a story. Okay, this is what I mean.
Oh,
Let me
Jesus
clarify
Christ.
because I was literally saying like, oh, I don't like we should go predictable. That's sometimes the best route, but I meant in the sense of we're going in trajectory with two characters, right? Kylo Ren, and because the way that series is, and we're talking about fucking Star Wars now, but like, because there was so many different writers and directors, it was you couldn't get a full-on prediction of where he was going because the vision kept changing. We just didn't want, in my opinion, just the same as Vader. That's different when it's like there's no the boys already, right? It's Butcher's first time. That's what I mean. Like, is it predictable if like it ends with Homelander and Butcher kills him? Yeah, but if you can get there right and put some twists and turns like they have with the son and the wife, it's great. With Star Wars, it was different because it was like a franchise series. That's in those movies. It's the same thing when they do Avengers. I don't want Avengers 5 to be there's a portal that opens up and there's a bunch of aliens and they come down and the team gets no, I don't want that. The first Avengers, was it predictable that all the Avengers was going to win and beat the aliens? Yeah, but it wasn't about that. It was about like, oh, they're finally together and we don't know what's happened. Maybe one of them could die. that's what I mean as far as predictable, as far as when you're first time up. But Star Wars, yeah, fuck. Anything else on this? That's all the boys because we're going on a tangent elsewhere. I think I've said everything that I've needed to.
um,
Fuck, Ben Solo deserved better. Fuck, oh my god, like they just
yeah,
massacred my boy.
feel bad for Ben Solo.
I feel bad for them all. John Boyega's pissed. Oscar Isaac's pissed. Ray was supposed to be Kenobi.
Hmm. I saw someone say that Pedro Pascal quit.
Quit filming halfway. I don't know. One, that's either not true, or two, it's like all he does is the voice, really. So it's like he technically could record all his lines before season 2 was done filming, and like that's not quitting. It's just like he's done. But I think that report came from like a shit website, so don't worry about it.
Okay, good. I mean, it wouldn't be hard to replace like a voice actor, really. I mean,
Why would he even want to get replaced? He's just doing the voice. It's easy fucking
I
money
know,
for
I know,
him.
yeah, easy.
That's why I don't even believe that. Like he's not. If he's on set, then sure. But he's just like he was on set sometimes, but most of the time he's just in a booth being like, "This is the way. I like those
Yeah,
odds." You
or in
know,
his closet, like Adam
like
Driver.
Adam Driver. You're a Palpatine.
Oh, yeah. Back to the boys, though. In terms of what else was there? Yeah. Yeah. So the end, like sex scene, like holy crap, like that was so like rough and like
What I
it's like
wanted.
it's yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah. That's superheroes. That's what they do. I mean, I guess that's what how superheroes do it. Like I'm sure Lois Lane and
No, she'd be
uh
dead.
yeah, I would imagine. So um
You'd
yeah,
have to
they
get
were.
like Captain Marvel and Thor. You'd have people
Mm,
two similar power levels. You know.
yeah, they were like smashing against the walls, and like then that final scene of them just floating there is like, holy crap, this is just like,
Other
I'm
than
glad my
last
mom's out.
week when Anthony Starr was acting as doppelganger of like Homelander in lingerie, he's never out of that Homelander outfit, and this is the most we've
No,
seen.
he's not.
We saw his bare legs, but even then, like the top and the cape was still on. So I wonder if we're ever gonna see him out of that costume. But yeah, I liked that sexy. I liked everything. Like I said, I knew it was going that way. I I know, like, so I always play it up on the podcast and like whatnot, but like I do always like when sex and characters get in, like introduced. One, that maybe says some stuff about me, but two, it's just like I feel like there's just like it's my bread and butter as far as my favorite on-screen comic book relationship is Batman and Catwoman, and there's that tug and pull. And the second you introduce sex and relationship and something, that's why I love when there's like female and male, like heroes versus villains. It's the same way, even if it's in a weird, gross way, as far as Nancy and Freddy Krueger. Freddy Krueger was always like weirdly like he's a rapist, so it's awful, but he's like always like flirting with her, and he's like saying all these puns. But then Nancy is just like being the strong female and just kicking his ass and everything. Like there's such a good push and pull sometimes with male and female like hero villains dynamics either way. So and now we've introduced this that I think it's mostly just for her to manipulate him, but now it's just like we get to see Homelander in a new relationship because with Madeline it was all established for years. So see what he does, and maybe he does eventually turn on her. But it's I just thought I thought it was the way they were going. They were talking like every time she talked to Homelander, she was like, "Oh, if you want like anything," like she made so many hints. I'm like, okay, it's gonna
Hmm.
happen. So I'm very excited to see what the futures. I'm excited for more sex scenes if we get them.
Yeah, at this point, I mean, God, anything goes. They're just, yeah, they're going all out. They're doing some crazy shit. So I honestly, I Thursday rolls around and I'm like, oh my God, I got another boys episode. I'm pumped. And another thing on that,
Three more left.
there, yeah, another thing on that note, just I'm so appalled about how people are just complaining about the episodes being weekly. Like, what a bunch of pansies. Like, seriously, grow a set and just stop being little bitches. Like, honestly. And I'm sure I'm calling out a bunch of people, and you know what? Like, just grow a little patience. My God, like
Not our generation.
no, apparently not our generation. Like, Jesus, and then everything served up on a bloody silver platter. I mean, it wasn't that long ago we were waiting every week for The Mandalorian, and no one complained about that. It was
Because the
fine.
Mandalorian was always said it was gonna be 1 week, so the boys people got used to it
Oh,
being that's
boo
a
hoo! They're trained. Well, then they're just a bunch of sheeple, just trained. You gotta like just go with the flow, people, and just kind of just roll the dice and just if things change then you adapt to it. You can't just throw down your flag and set up a protest for everything like that. Sometimes focus your attention on the real world problems that are compromising society and just straining humanity out
Yeah,
there.
like
Don't
PS5
complain.
pre-orders.
Yeah, like that. About the fact that Sony lied and they dropped a day early and people couldn't get their pre-orders locked in.
I got mine. Uh,
Jesus.
anything else?
No. No, that's it.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back next week. Let us know in the comments whether it's on YouTube or Twitter and Facebook. Where you can find us on Twitter is in our what the fuck is it? In our description. Yeah, it's in our link. But yeah, so let us know what you thought about this. We'll be back next week, episode 6. Yeah, only 3 episodes left. It's crazy to think. It's going by quick, but
it's a 9-episode season?
No, 6, 7, 8.
Oh shit. I was counting after 6, yeah.
So let's see, 6, 7, 8. So it ends on the 9th, and then after that we'll have 1, 2, 3. We'll have 2 weeks till the Mandalorian.
You said it ends on the 9th. You mean the 9th day of a month or the 9th episode?
The 9th day of the month. That's I literally just said.
I know, but you said it ends on the 9th. I was like, oh.
No, I was literally talking about there being 8 episodes. So, but yeah, it ends on October 9th, and then after, then 2 weeks later is Mandalorian season 2, which will be exciting. Because did you see? No, this has turned into a Star Wars thing. We haven't done a Star Wars cast. Well, we'll have to do one. But have you seen what the Tamara Morrison news is?
No, I saw there was casting that confirmed Boba Fett or something like that.
Well, I guess apparently like his agency like confirmed he's gonna be a Mandalorian season 2 playing Boba Fett, and she's like, "Oh, you idiots!" It's just like,
well, yeah.
Well, it was
stupid,
just a
but
rumor.
No, I think they confirmed he was coming.
No, they didn't. That was all. That's why today was such a big deal. So it just would be like, it would have just been like if before Infinity War, if they like the guy who was playing Red Skull put a like added to his IMDb like, guess what, like Margaret from Walking Dead or however you say his name is playing the Red Skull, and you're like, oh, I guess Red Skull's Infinity War. We knew he was in there from tons of rumors, but it was never confirmed by Disney. They always said no comment, which is confirmation, but they got confirmed. So those Spurs are coming.
I would have honestly just I would have went into that season just thinking, oh yeah, there he is. I was expecting it because I thought he was confirmed, but now he's confirmed, so that's good.
Ladies and gentlemen, we hope you enjoyed this episode. You can find us on the interwebs. It won't be boring.
Bye-bye.